Hi, Diane here, and I have a box that I just got from my printer that includes one each of the Samantha Kid books. And the reason I did this is because I realized I didn't have proofs of the recent cover change from last year, and there's nothing worse than doing an event and picking up your book for someone to look at and realizing that there's a mistake on it. And I wish I could say that never happened to me, but I can't say it's never happened to me. So I thought it was wise to go ahead and order the copies just so I had a print copy to look at in person and make sure they're fine. And I figured I'd do an unboxing so I can give you like my quick take on that book in the series. So without further ado, let me go ahead and open the box and we'll see what we got. Well, they're not packed in any particular order. So first up top is Designer Dirty Laundry. So this is the very first book in the series. This is where Samantha finds her new boss dead in an elevator. I've talked about this book a lot, so you know everything there is for me to tell you about it, but I will say it's kind of funny now that I'm back in Reading. The series is based on Reading, Pennsylvania. I call it Ribbon, Pennsylvania in here and change a lot of places, but it's funny being back in town and seeing how much has changed since I first started the series. The next book in here is actually the next book that's coming out in June, which is Murder Italian Style. And in this one, Samantha is sent off to Italy to solve a 26-year-old crime. And there's a lot of food in here. Of course, there's a lot of food in all of them because Samantha likes to eat. Okay. Next, Sylvia Stryker has snuck into the box because I needed a proof copy of Scandal on a Moon Trek, so that's that one. Next up is book 6, Pearls Gone Wild. This was actually written initially as the third book in the series. And it was kind of a mess, and I set it aside for several years and then went back and kind of changed it line by line until it became the story that it is here. And it's a Christmas book. Some Like It Oat, which is book 4. And this one does not actually have a murder in it. This one has an arson in it. So a little bit different in that I wasn't sure by book 4 if Samantha was really going to find a body in every book. But it turns out in 16 of them, she's found bodies in 14 of them. So, go. Sleigh Ride, which is also a Christmas book. And it's book 10. And I was wrong. She doesn't find a dead body in this one. She does have to find a body because her coworker, who is an influencer, is missing in this book. And he is a return character from book 2 in the series. So we're going in no order here. This is a chaos. Let's get rid of some of this weird, wacky paper too. I really don't know if I'm doing anything with this video at this point because it's already going off the rails. Okay. Brim Reaper, The Brim Reaper. This is book 3. I originally wrote it as book 2. It is set at the museum, the Ribbon Museum, which was based on the Reading Museum, which is really not far from where I live. And that's another funny one when I drive past it and I think about the fact that Samantha and Nick and Eddie, actually mostly Samantha and Eddie, had the run of the place and had this whole scenario going on. It's pretty funny to drive past and just like realize like, oh yeah, I have a whole other imagining of what might happen in those doors, in those walls. So Brim Reaper obviously has to do with hats. The first version of the cover did not have a hat on it. And I kept thinking, you don't see the top of her head. How am I going to get a hat on the cover of the Brim Reaper? So figured it out. Okay. Next up is Fahrenheit 501, which I find it very funny that Fahrenheit 451 is now on the banned books list. I just saw that the other day. Well, it's been on the banned books list, but I guess it just popped back up on the USA Today bestseller list because all the people who support banned books are now buying it to show their support of the book. So anyway, I see that. I always think of Fahrenheit 501. I was actually watching Fahrenheit 451 when I got the idea for this title. And I knew it was going to be about jeans because of 501 jeans. And I thought that this was just the funniest title I had ever come up with. So I don't know whether it is or isn't. It certainly tickles me. So Fahrenheit 501 about jeans. It's the only one where you don't see Samantha any bit of her face because you get to see her butt in her jeans. Cement stilettos is when Samantha discovers that there is mafia in Ribbon, Pennsylvania. So this one's got a whole organized crime element to it. It also has a shoe element to it. Nick Taylor's business is in trouble. The murder relates back to his business. So that reveals a lot of things about him that Samantha did not know at that point. Book 7. Oops, hiding her head. Book 7. Grand Theft Retro is book 5. This one doesn't have a dead body in it. I mean, it does, but it's an old dead body. It's not a new dead body. I don't know. Does that matter to you when you're reading a mystery? Do you want the body to be new? Do you care if it's an old crime? Do you like when a series mixes it up? I'd love to hear. So if I post this, which you're not going to know I asked if I don't post this. So if I post this and you get the question, let me know in the comments because I would like to know what you think. Grand Theft Retro has to do with the 70s. Samantha actually has a stable job here and she's kind of figuring out that her coworker might not have her best interests at heart. A lot of funny things in this book, and we get to know Detective Longcar a little bit better. Fun fact about him, I never really expected him to be an ongoing character. I mean, I knew the series was going to need a detective, but I didn't, in the first book, I didn't make him the love interest. He was like a curmudgeonly, older, cranky, non-fashion-y guy. And it turned out, by book 3, it turned out I had so much fun writing the scenes between Samantha and him that every time I had the body, I thought, oh, yay, Longcar's going to show up and what's going to happen? So at that point, he stuck around. And then in this one, we got to start finding out a little bit more about what brought him to Ribbon, Pennsylvania. Tough Lux, which is number 11. This is one of my favorites in the series. It features a pretzel heiress who went to high school with Samantha and is now incarcerated, and she does not take interviews, but she has requested that Samantha come and visit her in jail. So that was kind of fun to explore Samantha's high school years and, you know, a little bit of what that might have been like and what this person may have meant to her. That is Tough Lux. I love the pretzel part. I love the fact that there's a pretzel on the cover. It makes me very happy. You can tell the whole series makes me happy. That's why I keep writing it. Okay. Guilt Trip. This is number 14. And this one is a locked room, closed circle mystery. The whole thing takes place in one evening at a hotel at an award ceremony where they are snowed in, so nobody can leave. So you got a little bit of a ticking clock element here. Guilt Trip. Ranch dressing. I just noticed something wrong with this cover. It doesn't have the Publisher's Weekly quote. So I'm going to make sure that I update it. See, that's why we're doing this whole thing, so I can catch all this little stuff that should have been taken care of. Anyway, so ranch dressing takes place at a dude ranch. This is book 15. This is the most recent book till now. And a little insider knowledge about this one. I've known the whole series that eventually I was going to end up writing a Western themed book. Each book kind of has a different style to it since Samantha's a former fashion buyer. So whether that comes through massively or not, it's in my mind when I'm writing it. And in my early drafts of the first book, Samantha makes a disparaging comment about Western attire. And so in the back of my head, I always knew I was going to revisit that and have a time when she was going to be into Western wear because she was so dismissive in book 1. Wrote ranch dressing, put her in Western wear. The whole thing's at this dude ranch. And when I went back to find that line in book 1, it turns out I edited it out somewhere along the way before the book was published. So that reference doesn't even exist. So maybe someday there will be an unabridged version and you'll get the whole thing. But for now, you get my story. Okay, ranch dressing that needs a quote on the cover. Panty Raid. Panty Raid is book 8. It is set in Las Vegas. So there's a couple of books that are not set in Ribbon. So this is set in Las Vegas. This was originally supposed to be set in Paris. And I wrote about half of the book set in Paris. I still have it saved on my computer someplace. It was the messiest draft I had ever written. And when I write, I was still writing by the seat of my pants at this point. I've kind of since shifted away from that and started plotting a little bit more. But I thought, I kept leaving notes to myself, clean this up. And then I'd write a little bit more, like go back and change this. And I would do a little bit more, go back and change that. And I thought, I am making the most messy draft. It's going to be impossible for me to figure out the story and untangle all these threads that I put in here. And I just wasn't excited about it. So I talked to one of my friends and she said, have you asked Samantha why she's not cooperating with you? Which I had not done. So I did. Samantha and I had a heart to heart. And then I basically told her, okay, you're not happy. I'm going to take 2 days. If you tell me a new story, I'll write a new story. If you don't tell me a new story, we're going back to the mess and we're going to figure it out. And I was writing at the library at that time. So I went to the library and I sat down, opened up a new document and just started like, what's the idea? And I had an opening and I just ran with it. And I had a really solid, I wrote like twice as much as I normally write that day. So I thought, wow, she gave me a new story. So I'm going to go back the next day. And that was a Thursday. So I went back on a Friday and I had another really good writing day. And at that point, I was so excited about this story that I thought, Samantha fulfilled her side of the bargain. I asked her to tell me a new story and she showed up and she did. And like all kinds of interesting stuff was happening and taking place. And I was like, ooh, what's this? Who's that? This person's going to be in Vegas. Like all the stuff I never even expected started happening. And I was very excited. So I wrote this book and abandoned that one. Every once in a while I pull it up and think I'm going to do something with it, but I have not. So that's Panty Raid. We're getting to the bottom of the box. This is Buyer Beware, book 2. And this one has to do with handbags. And in book 1, Samantha is a former fashion buyer. She gave up that job for a fresh start. Things don't all work out for her. So this is book 2 and she takes a job as a buyer. And guess what? Things don't all work out for her. So that's why she has to work some things out through book 3 and onward. So that is Buyer Beware. And oh no, we're not at the end yet. We have Stark Raving Maud, which I just discovered does not have the right colors on the cover. I changed that font treatment, so I'm going to have to fix that. But Stark Raving Maud, this one was really meant to be all about female mods, and it turned out to be about male mods. And the research that I did into male mods, I just loved it. I'm still subscribed to newsletters about male mod clothes and fashion and style. And I bought a ton of books on it to read about the history of it. I can't get enough of it. I listen to the music. I'm just very interested in it. And it wasn't something I expected because I really thought this was going to be about like this Yves Saint Laurent dress that she's wearing. I thought it was going to be about Mary Quant and like all that, daisies and whatnot. Wasn't. So another surprise. Sometimes these books surprise me when I start writing them. Getting quite a stack here. You can't even see the whole thing, but there you go. And the last book in the box is Union Jacked. This is book 9. This is the first one I wrote after I moved back to Pennsylvania. And I don't know if that's significant or not, but I was in a bit of a tumultuous state. And so some things happen here that kind of pivot the series. Still the same series, but one character changes jobs and some things change so that books after 9, so 10 onward, things are a little bit different. But if you've been with the characters, you kind of understand that life changes and things go on. Now, there's a different cover for this book somewhere, I think on the ebook, and I am now going to have to figure out if I like this one better or if I like the other one better, because I don't mind this one, but I think I like the other one better. So this one might need a little change too. So you never know. These ones that I ordered that are perfectly fine, except I need to make a cover change, they could end up in a giveaway. So that is Union Jacked. That is book 9. And that is the full series plus one Sylvia Stryker that snuck in there. And that is our unboxing. And I'm going to call this video at this point, and I think I've rambled long enough. I hope you enjoyed this little walk through the series in no particular order, and I hope you're looking forward to Murder Italian Style, which comes out on June 17th, which is just 2 months away. So, right, 2 months, April, May, June. Yes, 2 months away. So that is it. Samantha has more adventures planned for her in the future. She is coming back to Ribbon in book 17. I actually realized what I wanted to write in book 17, and I knew something had to happen in book 16 before that plot made sense. So she'll be back in book 17 somewhere down the line, but we're talking about 16 now, Murder Italian Style, out June 17th. And I hope you get it and enjoy it and let me know. Thanks a lot for watching.